Good evening, everybody. Today again is June 18th. I made a video earlier today talking about a fun trip to Steak and Shake, but that's not what I'm going to talk about in this video. In this video, I'd like to talk about a post that American HODL put on Nostr today, and I'll put it on the screen here so you can see it and read it. But basically, I don't really know where this post came from, but it explains how America is, or the Western civilization, likely isn't going to collapse in some big, one-time event and everything just goes to hell, like a zombie apocalypse or a nuclear apocalypse or some sort of EMP attack or financial attack where from one day to the next everything's wiped out and there's mass casualties and all these types of things. But rather, Western civilization is likely going to go through a slow decline over time, and people will just be acclimated to it over time, and you'll start to see things degrade. And after reading that, it really hit me hard and made me realize that we're likely already in the midst of that decline, because several things, if you look at different metrics as far as standards of living and things like that for individuals in the Western world especially, things are not getting better by several degrees. So some things that this post is talking about is, people start losing interests or hobbies. They don't have anything unique about them anymore. They're just chasing money to pay bills and get by to the next day. People are becoming more reclusive. They're, nothing is special anymore. Again, people are just focused on, I got to get back to the job and make some more dollars and pay some more bills. They just keep piling up, and I can't get ahead. And it also mentions that people give up on dreams or put them off so far that they just never come to happen. And so it's an incredibly dark post, especially if you relate it to current day, because it affirms a lot of what's going on now. So not only that, but you see the product decline in quality and things like that. So houses and buildings that were built in earlier centuries are still standing and built of stone and brick and mortar and slate and real building materials, where now, at least in the United States, homes are built with studs that are warped and bent and broken and cheap building materials that might only last a couple decades, if that. So you can see the state of decline in things that we're purchasing today. But on a dollar for dollar basis, homes are more expensive than they've ever been. So one of the biggest declines that I've seen is with my beloved Toyota trucks. Unfortunately, I love Toyota cars. They're just the ultimate utilitarian vehicles, and they've gone through a decline. Toyota really peaked in the early 2000s, and from 2000 to 2010 they had some really fantastic cars and trucks, and really good power, really good value, cars that would last hundreds of thousands of miles. And now, as of 2025, they're putting out trucks with smaller engines that have twin turbos and things like that to try to get the same power from like a V8 and a V6, and they're doing all these games to meet efficiency goals and things like that, and it's completely ruined the vehicles. Not to mention there's more plastic and just junk, cheap wear parts in these things than ever before, where they used to build things quality that would last decades. And now they're just building them cheaper and cheaper. But again, the price continues to go up. So what this post is talking about, that American HODL put out there, is that lower standards are going to become accepted and just part of the norm. Again, people are going to acclimate to these lower standards over time. And people already are. I mean, a new car comes out and people think, oh, look at this great new car. And they don't actually realize this is junk compared to what you could have gotten in the past. They're just excited about a new car or the new shiny little tech gadget that it has in it that they think is going to make their life incrementally better than it was the day before. So ultimately, debt and poverty are going to prevail. because nobody's going to be able to afford these new things without using debt. Look at all the things that you need in life just about require debt to own now for most people that are paycheck to paycheck. So, I was thinking about the post deeply, and I thought, man, we're already there, and it's incredibly sad. People don't really have friends anymore. People don't go out and do anything anymore, hardly. So I feel like society is well on its way in this decline. And it made me think about a book that I read recently called The Mandibles. And I highly encourage you to check out that book and read it, because it's set in the not so distant future. So only a couple, maybe a decade ahead of where we are today. And it's a fiction story, but it talks about how those that are going to adopt Bitcoin and own Bitcoin are going to end up being okay and forming little enclaves that they can trade and continue to live pretty decent lives together, while the rest of the world that's under fiat or under government control just declines all around them. And so the story is really interesting. It starts with the Mandible family, and they're really wealthy, and the fiat system's going well for them. And over time, the son's going to visit his father, and his father's very wealthy, and the son's, coming up and realizing there's something wrong with money. He's not quite getting ahead. He's not quite, reaching all his goals and dreams, but he's banking on, his wealthy father passing away someday and leaving behind this massive inheritance. And as time goes on, his father's, living and not passing away, so he's not getting this inheritance. And at the same time, things are getting worse and worse. Inflation's getting higher, food's costing more, the care for his father is getting more expensive, and his father starts to lose everything. They lose their property, their house, all their nice stuff, and then at the end of it, there's nothing left behind. So it's kind of like this shock, like, wow, all that wealth was stolen. Where did it go? And at the same time, people that are in sound money, like Bitcoin, are thriving and building enclaves and circular economies where they're still able to trade and produce goods and have peace and harmony. And the other side is just going to hell and chaos. And so it's a really, really interesting book. I highly encourage you to read it. And it's fun because you learn things about Bitcoin and economics and society and things like that, but it doesn't feel like a lecture or a lesson. It's a fiction book. So it's really interesting. Hopefully it does not become nonfiction someday here in the near future. But this post, the Mandibles, all those things are unfortunately kind of dark subjects, but it brings me to one conclusion that I want to talk about, and that is the only thing I hate about Bitcoin is how hard it is to get people you care about to understand it. And that is something that we as Bitcoiners have to live with, is you can't learn Bitcoin on somebody else's behalf. You can save in Bitcoin on somebody else's behalf, like if you have kids or something like that, and you want to put something away for them in the future. That is an incredibly smart idea. But, other adults, friends, family that you have, you can't really force Bitcoin on them. They need to learn it themselves and, become convicted on their own will. You can, help them, you can guide them and tell them about it, but ultimately everybody kind of has to come to Bitcoin under their own free will, and let go of what they think they know is right and relearn something new. So it's definitely tests your humility, it tests your IQ if you're able to learn something new, and you're willing to learn something new. And so if I had to pick only one thing that I would hate about Bitcoin, again, it's how hard it is to get people to understand it, especially people that you care about. So just some thoughts going on through my head tonight as we're going through some challenging geopolitical events and things like that. I hate to even think about politics at a time like this, but we gotta be thinking about the future and what we can do to protect ourselves and protect our families. And I think, at least financially speaking, Bitcoin is the best thing you can do right now. So I will see you in the next one.